Now, guys, about 15 years ago, Tyra Banks said that her accountants had to have a talk with her about her money. They told the 49-year-old TV personality and model that she was actually saving too much money and that what she was doing was sending a lot of money to the government in the form of taxes. And they suggested that Tyra set up an F account, with the F standing for frivolous, being spend what you want to spend. The same thing often happens with retirees. They're afraid to spend what they've saved because it is that number one fear, outliving their money. They're afraid of running out. So how do you help clients achieve the confidence in their plan so they can actually put aside those worries?
Well, I think being afraid of spending money in retirement is really something that is an issue for certain people. And, if you're saving so much, it's making you miserable, or if you're making decisions that are missing out on important life experiences, you really might want to take a look at what's going on. I mean, some experts say people, save from a place of deeply entrenched financial anxiety. Spending more can actually be therapeutic, and there's ways to take a look at this. So we have some previous shows where we've talked about anxiety and how it can impact you with investing in retirement time. I'd encourage you to spend more time looking at some of those videos on the YouTube channel. But to me, what I would say, in my 28 years and meeting with hundreds of people, I can think of one example after another of people who were financially set. They had made it,
Sure.
yet they still, were unable and unwilling to try to spend money until we kind of coached and walked them through. One case in particular was a retired couple, did a great job saving, had plenty of money and reliable lifetime income and a nice savings to boot, lived in the same house for the last 50 or 60 years. The house didn't have air conditioning. Now, this time of year in Northwest Ohio, it's not that big a deal, but summers can get kind of hot in here. So it took a little bit of coaching to say, hey, it's okay. You have the ability where if you want to put that air conditioning unit into the house, you can. To me, it's life's lessons that teach you who you are as a saver or spending. So something they probably experienced in their life caused them to do that. I even think of my own grandfather. He was the greatest person that I know that kept track of expenses. Mm-hmm. You'd go to his house and you could open up the closet and he would have what he paid for, the can of soup or the bag of Doritos. Sure. And he was a shopper and looking for the deals. So some specific advice if you find yourself in this situation is, number one, be and stay debt-free. The overwhelming majority of clients that can be comfortable with spending money in retirement are debt-free. If you're worried about running out of money, look at building enough reliable income that it's not impacted by the stock market. Number three, if you're worried about a healthcare crisis, set aside an emergency fund for copays, deductibles, out-of-pocket expenses. Consider leveraging that money to get critical, chronic, and terminal illness coverage. Next is you want to have an emergency set aside for the next 3 to 12 months worth of essential expenses that you have. Then what you want to do is you want to have an account that's designed to give you a pay raise in the future. And if you take and you put money into those different buckets, then what you're going to do is you're going to have a bucket of money that's left over. This leftover money could be your paycheck account. This could be the account that you look at that says, this is the money that I can spend, and be able to not worry about being afraid of spending that money in retirement time. The other final advice that I would say is it's always okay to spend what you make. Try to spend your profits, not your principal.
Right.
There's years like this year the market wasn't cooperative. Maybe this isn't the year that you go extra overboard, where last year was a great year. Maybe you overachieved your goals last year. Those are the years that you do those type of things. How about you, Scott?
Well, there's no question. And like you said, it does kind of go back to, maybe something happened in your life. And it's like, okay, I'm geared and programmed to save. And at some point, you need to spend some money. Like you said earlier, it could be therapeutic. When you look at putting the buckets of money aside or setting some of that money aside, if you have the right plans put in place, like for health insurance, if you know that your maximum exposure is, say, $3,500, and you have $3,500 set aside, if you don't spend that, that's all play money. And you can just roll that over to the next year. So, like you said, make sure that you set some time aside and some money aside for you to have play money. You know, if you are financially set and can afford to do so, spending your money is not a bad thing. Just spend it wisely.
You know, one of the great things I think people have walked out of our office is that they say, this is the first time I really now understand the purpose for each of my financial accounts.
Absolutely.
And we do that by setting aside buckets of money designed for different time frames. So if you're listening and, you know, you're watching for the first time, or this is the 100th time that you've tuned into the show, and you're afraid of spending money in retirement time, I would encourage you to take some time to learn about the independent income system. Mm-hmm. The independent income system will teach you how to look at your money different as you move into retirement time, to be able to put buckets of money in place and help you address those issues and guide you through that, as well as working with a professional to help answer those questions of, did I make it? Do I have enough? What could blow it up? And how do I eliminate that? These are all areas that we can help with.
Rather than just go into retirement and hope that it's going to work for you, put in some a strategy and actually have the variables known for you. Maybe having that money set aside for, you know, paychecks and playchecks, or bills and thrills, or maybe some other mindset that doesn't necessarily rhyme, but it is making sure that your expenditures are covered, and then the rest of it is stuff that you can indulge with. But that all comes back to having that plan put in place. The team at America's Retirement Headquarters, they can help you craft that plan. To get started, go to americasretirementheadquarters.com, take a look for the independent income system online, or give a call, 419-794-3030. Once again, 419-794-3030. We appreciate you joining us today. There's more to come here on the show right after this.